Welcome everyone. We're going to talk about meringue. The main point you have to remember is that everything wants to be in homeostasis. Everything wants to be chill, and that is where we're going to start. So let's start off with our egg whites. Our egg whites right now, as they're hanging out, are in homeostasis. They are made up of mostly water and some protein. So it is 90% water and the rest is proteins. And this is the egg whites in homeostasis. They like the state they're in, but they're not in a state that we want them to be. The main protein in egg whites is ovoalbumin. That's why sometimes you'll see people refer to powdered egg whites as albumin, because it's essentially that. So let's look closer into the egg white. Here we have it. Again, let's remember it is mostly water, 90% of it. And the remaining 10% is proteins or amino acids. Now, I'm going to draw the amino acids with two parts to them, the blue and the orange. The blue parts are hydrophilic. They love water, and so they are facing the water part of the egg white. The orange parts are hydrophobic. They don't like water, so they are actually hidden inside the amino acid structure that is surrounded by the hydrophilic proteins. So we have the blue, they love water, and orange, they hate water, and they're hidden. So we want to uncover these orange water-hating proteins because we want to inject air in order to make meringue. We can do that by misspelling whisk. It's ended up looking like a Chinese lantern, but you know what I mean. So we do that mechanically by whisking the egg whites, and we break those bonds, or we can do that using heat, again, breaking those bonds and allowing air to enter. When air enters, it's going to team up with those proteins that are hydrophobic because those proteins are not going to want to go near the water. So anyways, once we do that, we create the meringue structure. And so here we have the air surrounded by those hydrophobic proteins and the water surrounded by the hydrophilic proteins. And they're actually really close together. You can still see that the protein chains, the hydrophilic and the hydrophobic, are still hanging out very close together, but with their respective sides towards the air or the water. And this is just the meringue structure that we create to inject air. Now, we know that meringue requires one last element, and that is sugar. What sugar does is it comes in, and those structures that are created by the proteins, it's like sets them. Imagine the sugar going in there, dissolving in the water, because sugar does dissolve in water, and coating these protein matrices or these protein structures and leaving things as they are in that moment. Because remember, the egg whites want to go back to homeostasis. They want to go back to how they were. So let's talk about the meringue stabilizers. I put that in quotations because that's a really big umbrella term, and I really want to get down to what these things do and why we use them. So that way you're not just adding something saying, I'm adding this to stabilize my meringue. You understand why you're adding it to your meringue. So first, let's look at salt. Salt is a molecule that is at a neutral pH, and it does not dissolve in water. Why is that important? It's because it's able to physically go in there, again, mechanical shear force, and go in there and like fruit ninja those protein bonds and break them apart and form a physical barrier between them so that the proteins that want to stay together, again, they want to go back to homeostasis, they will stay apart. It gives air time to come in. It gives us time to add the sugar and set things. So cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a little different, and it means we have to remember that egg whites are alkaline in nature. Their pH is basic, so it's very high. Cream of tartar is acidic, so it's got a very low pH. So not only does it use mechanical shearing force to break those bonds apart, it actually destabilizes them because it's an acid interacting with a base. So it's going to push them apart using its pH as well. Lemon juice works the same way. I don't like to use it. It's way too much water. Now, egg white powder. Egg white powder is just more egg whites, more egg white proteins. It is that 90% of water has been removed, and it is alkaline just like regular egg whites. And so all it does is the proteins that we talked about, those amino acids that we talked about earlier, the ovoalbumin, all it does is it adds more of that. And so it increases the protein content and it decreases the percentage of water totally. And this gives sugar more places to bind to and set things. So here's a quick recap. And I really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. And I hope it helps. Okay, have a good day. Bye.